Real talk. The real reason why I do what I do as a holistic coach is I was diagnosed with SIN3 about 6 or 7 years ago. And for those of you who don't know what SIN3 is, it is the stage before cervical cancer. So when you get a pap smear as a woman, they are testing for the HPV virus. Now, that HPV virus, if you get it, can generally go away on its own. And there are 100 different types of the HPV virus. 2 of them are likely to progress to cancer, and those are types 16 and 18. So if the HPV virus for some reason doesn't go away on its own, it can progress to SIN1. Again, generally will go away on its own. If it doesn't, will progress to SIN2. That's when doctors will be like, okay, we should probably treat this. Then SIN3 is quite alarming. They're like, definitely treat this to reduce your chances of getting cancer. And that's what I had, SIN3. Now, obviously you hear the word cancer. In my case, it was precancerous cells. And you freak the fuck out. There's a few different treatments. The treatment that they wanted to give me was LETS. What that treatment does is it burns off a layer of your cervix, hope that they get all the cells. Now, me being like, this is invasive for me. You have to go inside my personal space to do this treatment. I wanted to look at everything. I needed to know pros, cons, if there were any other possible options, because this treatment just scared the fuck out of me, okay? Now, I looked into it, and I'm not saying for anyone else to do this, because if this is something you want to do, if you want to do what I did, you have to commit 100%. You cannot take shortcuts. You cannot half-ass it, because if you do, there is a very high chance that you won't succeed and things could get worse. So I looked into this and I realized I did not have type 16 or 18. Remember, I said at the beginning, those are the 2 that are most likely to progress to cancer. And even if I did have those 2, the chances of it progressing to cancer, I think it was around 30%. Now, if you're living an unhealthy lifestyle, you obviously increase those chances. At the time, I was a party girl. I was drinking a lot. I was not looking after my nutrition, sleep, workouts, anything. I looked into natural ways to treat this because I thought, you know what, I would rather try everything possible. I would rather know that I gave it 100% before getting this invasive treatment. In saying that, I know so many women, I know more women who have had this treatment than haven't. I actually don't know any other women that have not got the treatment. So I recommend you get the treatment, okay? I'm not saying not to do that, because what I did was I completely changed my whole life. I cut out sugar, gluten, and dairy as much as possible, unless it was low lactose, like cheese, and alcohol for the most part. In doing that, I got into training in the gym in a way that felt good for my body, that wasn't too intense. And I decided to tell my doctor that I was treating it naturally. Obviously, they say no. I was laughed at. I was told, you have to get this treatment. And I was like, it's my body. I'm making the decisions, okay? 3 months went by and I got another colposcopy, which is where they insert a camera and they take pea-sized biopsy samples of your cervix. About 3, you have to cough and then they will clamp off the biopsy. Very uncomfortable. The aftermath of that was fucked. That wasn't even the treatment. And the doctor said, yeah, if I was to get the treatment, I would have to go under. Most women don't go under, but because of how I responded to that, like, I'm very sensitive. Like, even my scalp, when I'm at the hairdresser, I'm like my body, I'm just very sensitive to it, which is actually really good because I know when something's up. Even coming to the diagnosis of SIN3, I knew something was up with my body. That's why I pressed the doctors to do all the tests, because something unusual was happening. I was bleeding a lot and I was like, this is not normal. It would not stop. So that was my body's signal of letting me know, hey, something's up. 3 months went by. I got another biopsy. It was still there. Now, we don't know if it's regressed or not. What if it regressed and there was just a tiny little bit still there, and that's the bit that they got? Like, I was like, I'm not convinced. I'm going to go again. I went another 3 months. It was still there. Another 3 months, it was still there. 9 months of trying everything, okay? And I was like, I was taking all these supplements. I was eating so clean. I tried keto, paleo, I didn't try alkaline till the end. And I just thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'll get the treatment. I need to live my life. And then that's what led me to my last resort, meditation. I'm not saying that meditation was the cure, but incorporating breath work and meditation and system and procedures that help you regulate your nervous system did so much fucking good for my body, because it made me more present. It made me more intentful in everything that I did. My training got better. It was easier to eat good and eat clean. And that's when I did alkaline. So alkaline is when you have a diet that's 80% alkaline, 20% acidic. You want to be around those numbers. I would meditate, and I would specifically do meditations that were visualizing healing my cells, okay? And I basically just, overall, when I think about it, I just started working on regulating my nervous system. Everything got better. I achieved the results I wanted in the gym just like that, because I was not trying to stress. I was not pushing too hard. So a few months went by, and my doctor calls me up and he says, look, can we do some bloods or something? Mind you, I was getting blood tests throughout this whole period and everything was fine. So my bloods were saying that, you know, there was no major inflammatory markers or anything like that. I said, look, why don't we just do a pap smear? I don't want to do another biopsy. And hypothetically, if what I'm doing is working, the pap smear should be all right. And he's like, okay. So we did another pap smear. The results come back. This is about a year and a half after the original diagnosis, okay? He goes, whatever you're doing is working. Your results just show the HPV virus. I was hoping to regress to SIN 2 or SIN 1. I didn't have SIN 1, SIN 2 or SIN 3. I just had the HPV virus and not type 16 or 18. Oh my God, I did it. And that's when I went, our bodies are capable of some incredible fucking things, and I want to share this with the world, and I want people to know this, and I want to help people. Becoming a PT was not on my bingo card. I did not want to become a PT. There were so many PTs, and I thought, I don't know how to make this successful. But I learned that through being a PT, I was able to connect with clients and help them understand their bodies. And the amount of things that I've achieved so far, even just there's been 5 girls who have lost their periods due to different circumstances, but I now know how to get that back, including specific supplements to take and things to do, like regulating your nervous system. There are just so many things that I'm fascinated about, and long story, I know, but this is why I do what I do. I want to help people, and I want people to understand how powerful your bodies are.